rather intense energies at the moment, and things that are coming through or that are circling in conversations around me are disagreements and arguments and how we respond and react, and cultivating conscious relationships. And we've normalised, like this a comment came up the other day about, oh, everybody has arguments, and arguments, you say things that you don't mean. And I'm like, well, maybe one time we normalised all of that shit because we didn't know better, but as part of the healing of the nations and the evolution of our species and like higher consciousness, where we sort of all tap into a higher state of ourselves, we've done a lot of like self-observation and reflection, and we don't get it all right, but ultimately when we're in a relationship that is destined or for our highest good, aligned with love, that behaviour is not accepted. It doesn't come into the equation. It's not 111 on the clock. It's not a vibrational match. It's part of the old paradigm. Ultimately we are in a relationship with somebody who is on the same team as us. Like, they come at it next to us, ride or die, shoulder to shoulder, not like against us in a combative sense where flippant willy-nilly like comments can be made, because we've evolved to a state of emotional intelligence where we would hold our tongue. 144 has just passed on the clock and they want me to say that, even though it's now 150, but 144. Because the divine unions are coming into alignment now. The soulmates are emerging, the conscious souls, women, men, women, however we identify, just alignment. I'm not really here to put an opinion on how people get together or, who we're meant to love. No, it's just a love frequency, 212. And in the aligned relationships, conflict is addressed healthily with love as the core. That, things are awkward and intense and we might need to take time out and reflect differently, but it's one, private and sacred, and not shared with anybody else other than the two people involved in that situation, because like too many cooks, we don't need others' eyes on our relationship. I trust we don't rush into things, and therefore we know we've made the right choice or aligned choice to be with that person. Only our opinions matter. We don't need the opinions of others. We just work through things consciously as two evolving beings till the day that we leave the realm. Now, when we normalise things like, we say things in argument, things might get heated, and our shadow might come out, and we start to say things from a place of insecurity and low vibration, which is not the default when we are in a loving love vibration. When we love ourselves and we are in a conscious relationship, we've chosen to be together, love is the default. The shadow emerges in intense situations or where there's conflict and agreement, and maybe like addressing issues and areas that we've not approached together or we've not experienced together in our journey, in our relationship thus far. And so to normalise things like, we say flippant, people say things they don't mean. I don't think we're there anymore, and I don't think we need to be saying that. I think it's we're letting ourselves down if we start to normalise behaviour like, someone just swears at you. I mean, I swear a lot, but I don't swear at people or call people names. And I see that in arguments and see that in situations, and I see abusive text message, and I see verbally abusive remarks and passive aggressive responses and emails, and I trust we've all left that alone from the toxic corporate days. But we're not, those of us who are consciously tapping into what's changing rapidly around us, is a lot of us are just aligning with conscious healthy relationships. We're not responsible for anybody else. We're just aligning with souls. We all take accountability for ourselves, where we're at, how far we've 444 on the clock, when we're divine guidance and protection, how we're looking at our shadow, how we're integrating, people who knew past versions of us. And we're like, oh yeah, but you were this and you're that and you're that. But how can you tell me about myself? Like, you can't go around saying, oh, you're this and you're that to someone. You can say we feel this way, and something you've just said has made me feel a certain way, but ultimately we're all a projection of each other. So if you go around pointing the finger and like calling shit out about somebody else, then what does it say about us? Like, and I said before, we're not going to be friends with everybody. We're not going to like everybody. We're not going to like the reflection of everybody towards us. Like, that's fine. That's the collective shadow. But, sorry, I've just been eating an orange. God, these things really do get in your teeth. Anyway, so I think it's just time for the level up. Like, if we're accepting old people say things in the heat of the moment, well, no. Like, deal with your shit, deal with your anger. Like, anger's great and can be channeled in other ways. Like, we've got to know why the heat's there. A lot of us are connected to the eternal flame. We've got a fire that's burning. It can be stoked in a positive, healthy way, or it can be stoked in a dark way. So, like, I trust that the energies around us and the people that are around us are also of the emotional intelligence that they want to have healing, harmonious relationships continually. Like, no projections, no I'm right, you're wrong, no definitive final action. It's like forgiveness and also patience and a willingness to grow beyond the awkward moments. And this is not to negate verbal and physical abuse, because narcissistic behaviour is still, for the narcissists that are around, are unable to self-reflect. And yes, as a collective, we've all got those tendencies to put ourselves first in a selfish way that's not the healthy kind of selfish, i.e. only seeing things from our perspective. But still, we do have to put ourselves first. We do have to be number one in, not number one, we have to be, well, we have to lead from a place of wholeness, and we've got to be able to put ourselves first so that we don't pour from an empty cup, which, you know, loads of us have said before. So it's not about winning an argument. It's about trusting that the discomfort and the disagreements that we experience with someone that we've chosen to be with, or we've been destined to meet, like, can be addressed with love at the core. And that these hurtful things, like words and actions, they do not exist in our relationship, because we've integrated the shadow, and we don't normalize that behavior. And I will not accept that for myself or for anyone that I love around me. And if I see that happening in other relationships, I'm not going to go around doing that, but I would just watch things. And it's not in a red flag way, because people these days have gone way to the far right of picking and criticizing every single thing that a human does, to the point where people don't know if they're coming or going. And there was that meme or the quote saying that we're in the dumpster fire era of dating at the minute. You know, people don't commit, they don't devote, they dip out at the sign of any sort of difficulty. They can't, you know, talk about their emotions. And, you know, I've been with and I've also not been an angel in every relationship, but I have been able to talk and communicate once I was listened to and seen. Otherwise, I could have got angry. Is, you know, I've experienced the silent treatment. I've experienced stonewalling. I've experienced a lot of stuff, as many of us have in different ways. And I just don't think that era is here anymore. I don't believe that we... oh, that's silly. We love ourselves more right now. We're able to know, like, that we want a peaceful life. We want to manifest peace and love in the world as much as possible. So giving up on things and just saying, oh, you know, it's just him being angry, or that's just her, you know, being herself, and that's just that person being critical, and that's just that person being an asshole. Like, no, I think we've all got to check ourselves. I think we've all got to respect the elders. I think we've got to respect ourselves, and we respect our partners. We respect the other in the relationships that we are creating. And it's not about perfection, and not ever fucking up, but we don't let the verbal diarrhea out. We hold ourselves. We manage and regulate our emotions, because that is what we're meant to do. We come to earth to learn that. Emotions are one of the only experiences that humans have that other galactics and other beings don't have in the ways that we do. So we're meant to hear that's part of the mastery of life. And yeah, people trigger us. But that's for us to deal with. You know, I'm around, I've seen a few relationships where people are expecting others to expecting a certain type of treatment because they've been through something in their life. You know, we can be mindful and we can be heartfelt and loving in our interactions, but ultimately, if you know, we've gone through a loss or we've gone through something in our lives, you know, people can't tread on eggshells so that, you know, you don't get angry, or so that you don't this, that and the other. No, that's not living in a healthy sort of environment. This has gone on a bit longer than I wanted, maybe because I'm still struggling to get this bit of orange out of my tooth. But please, let's not normalise destructive behaviour. And please, let's not also go onto the far right end of anything. And also, like, red flagging 1111 on the clock. Because a lot of people are missing out on unions and connections right now because they are believing in some perfect ideal, and it just doesn't exist. Everybody's got their shadow. Some of us have addressed it. And by addressing, I don't mean we've nailed it. Nail on the coffin. Because also, we don't want to lock anything away. We've just, you know, shadow work is an ongoing process, and things re-emerge according to the environments and the people that we're around. So it's just to have these, you know when to, if you ride horses, if you know when to have the reins tight and, you know, just loosen the grip or not. I'm getting a bit jittery now, so that I know there's something going on in the Schumann resonance today because my cells have been doing some funny things. But let's not normalise shit behaviour in relationships with anyone, like a familial or counterpart or anything, because we all deserve more when we've done the work. When we live in love, and that's what we emanate, radiate from the soul, is we're not gonna argue like that. The heat just doesn't come. The heat comes from a positive place, because, you know, we can transmute the sauce, we can transmute the spice in good ways, but yeah, not sloppy ways anymore.